The thing I've been thinking about a lot lately is why do frameworks lead to God? Like, obviously, I understand why God leads to frameworks because frameworks are seeking the best dot texture, and God is quote unquote the truth, and truth is an equal with the best dot texture, and so naturally, God would produce the best dot texture by the nature of you coming closer to truth. Um, and so that makes sense. But then it's much harder for me to understand why thinking about frameworks leads or like it it okay. Let me try and parse this out. Yeah, I guess I don't understand. And I mean I don't I haven't fully I understand in the way you understand things you learned on sub one, which is like I'll understand it in 2 weeks. I don't understand it in 2 weeks. I don't quite get it yet. I have to let it sit in. Is why if I'm fully thinking about frameworks and fully dissected reality down to just pieces moving towards a thought vector, is that in my mind texture itself religiously. So it says like, you know, typically it'll have things to do with scale or scope. Like it'll say things like, look at this in comparison to everything else that exists. And not everything else that exists in the sense of God is some philosophical infinite concept. And like everything else that exists is literally whatever exists within the parameters of X, or like not existence as a concept, but existence is literally that which does exist out there. Not that I know what that is, but just that uh, there is there is other things out there, and that in thinking about just the ability for there to be other things out there, you can understand the abstraction of your experience, and it's just yeah, I know I'll explain that horribly, but like I said, because that's on the 2 week shouldn't be fascinated by it, and I want my retarded brain to be able to have that on camera. I want people to hear how incapable I am of talking about it now, so that when I can talk about it in 2 weeks, it's more impressive. Um,
So the main
but
question is, why does frameworking produce religious thought textures?
yeah, why is it like that? The way that so in other words, the question is like, why when I if why is it that the deepest that you can ever get is the part of you that does not think about God at all, but then why does that thing which does not think about God at all speak as if it's God all the time? Like, and obviously it's retarded to anyone. You sound like a complete total loony. Wait, you said it to anyone, but it's like why? Like, whenever I'm in my peak, then I don't believe in God. I only believe in God to the degree in which that increases my ability to act. But in that in those times, the way that manifests as language in my head are the words "I am God," and so I will do this. Like I'm not exactly, but as a general outline. And so like that's fascinating to me that like with the degradation of an actual like truth claim that God exists, you get a lot more identification with God as a concept. And I mean, like I said, I get the answer really. It's just that creates better thought textures. Like literally, it's just easier to create better thought textures faster by saying you're God than by saying some of the frameworks because language is an inefficient means of communicating concepts, and the concept of God is shorthand for the actual experience of
Do you think
everything.
it has something to do with the fact that also that like the God that you're creating a model for in the first place would not need a model for itself? So you
But
so it's sort of like a direct like I don't know, brute force kind of framework, I guess.
how would you run the framework you just talked about?
Okay.
You're saying that basically you understand the model as God reaching for a model, basically.
Yeah, yeah. So like in a sense, like why does frameworking produce religious thought textures, but trying to do the religious thing doesn't produce religious thought textures? I think it's because in a sense, like the frameworking, the non-religious aspect is the thing that the god of your model would be doing if he was on Earth. I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah, or in other words, what God would be doing. Yeah, no, I see what you mean. You're saying that God would not need to model himself, and so essentially you overcome your desire for a model by essentially rewriting that with thought texture. God does not need a model, and so you instantly skip past any need to create a model. So you're not trying to model God. You are directly replicating um, the pattern which God is described as. So in other words, the will to taste is a description for God, not God in and of itself. And so whenever you match the description of will to taste, you are doing what God would do. You are doing the same process that God naturally takes part in. And so that is more accurate, or that is more similar to the actual experience of being God than if you were to think about, um, you try to meta analyze what God would think about the person.
Yes,
So
precisely.
yeah, you're skipping through the left brain's garbage, muddled language, unnecessary complications, and you are getting directly to the process in and of itself, which God is um, catalyzed as, whatever that word for is. Like that is the direct manifestation of God. That is the way God unfolds. In the same way, like evolution. Humans are a consequence of evolution. They're like a part of the process. They're never part of the process. Anyway, like I said, that's on a 2 week timer. Um, Before I can cook. Um, but until then, hopefully we'll see next week. Actually, before we get to that, I had my back shots today. Holy shit! Spine injections.
The last few seconds you've been sort of glitching out.
Weird. Were you gonna say something?
No, I'm just trying to listen to you. It feels like you're outside.
Nope. I'm
Weird.
not.
Weird. You just said something about your back.
Yep.
Yeah, you should listen to this song. Um, it's extremely good. So as far as what I categorize it as is just like I don't know, listen like for one of the songs, just listen to the lyrics of it. And sort of meditate on it. It's like religious based like dubstep screaming song.
Well, that is an interesting description. You did that. Um. There we go. All right. Hello.
Howdy.
Hold on. randomly stop working?
Does what randomly stop working?
Your mouse?
My mouse? Not quite.
Mine does. I can't fucking figure out what's doing it. It just like literally I'll just be moving it around, and it is obviously like always, it comically picks the worst times when I'm playing the finals to just completely and totally stop functioning altogether, which is awesome. Okay. Did the glitching out and shit stop?
Yeah, you sound a lot better. You know what's really interesting? I was watching this YouTuber the other day just do stuff around the city, and I thought for a second the background of the video looked interesting, and my brain was trying to put together the pieces. And as the video played out, I was realizing that uh the guy was doing the video at the St. Petersburg Pier, and I just thought that was interesting, like the most random YouTuber, and just at the pier. He was pretending he was selling coke to homeless people using bags of flour, and he was doing that at the pier. I thought that was fascinating. No clue he was there, but I guess the pier is a place to do that.
We should collaborate with him.
Yeah.
He sounds like he'd know a lot about metaphysics.
Literally, I was watching this guy's videos, and it's like it was a very interesting meditation. He has absolutely zero social anxiety. He's a very young guy.
You just cut out.
Oh.
You just cut out. I couldn't hear anything you said for last minute.
All right, can you hear me right now?
Yeah.
But as far as like metaphysics, it was like it was actually interesting to watch this guy who like clearly was like, if objectively, I guess, was like a 1.3% sociopath of enough to like not care enough about people's reactions, but enough to still be empathetic, but still like do things that are absolutely antisocial and completely ridiculous and at times offensively wasting people's times, and but just to do it without any care, and like to do it so confidently and happily, and to make funny jokes while being arrested by the police and stuff like that. Like it was interesting to be like, if I could at least like catalyze that, and anything